This is lesson 3 in Math 21 outcome 4. So on this example, they're given a map with a scale, and we have to figure out how far each of the two states are from each other. So to make this easier, we're going to figure out the distance they are from border to border. So the scale on the bottom gives us some information. If I measure from here to here, that's 500 miles. If I measure from there to the smallest dash, that's going to be kilometers. So because I'm used to kilometers, I'm going to use the kilometer scale. So again, I grab my ruler. My ruler is not the same proportion as yours. I'm just trying to show you the steps that you would take to solve. And I line my ruler up with both of those tick marks, measuring that distance. So that distance is roughly 1.3 centimeters-ish. So now I know that 1.3 centimeters is the equivalent to 500 kilometers. Again, whenever you have a scale, you can write that as a fraction, 1.3 over 500. Since I did my scale in centimeters, I need to measure the distance in centimeters. So I have to find Nevada, and I have to find Kansas. So I found Nevada. Nevada is right there. Now I need to find Kansas. And Kansas is right there. So what I'm going to do is just measure the distance between those two from border to border. So I line my ruler up. So from border to border is roughly 3.2 centimeters. So since that's a centimeter, I put the 3.2 with the centimeter. X goes on the bottom because I'm changing that to kilometers. And now I cross multiply. 1.3 times x is 1.3x. 500 times 3.2 is 1,600. Divide by 1.3. Divide by 1.3. And I get roughly 1,230.8 if I round up kilometers. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to measure border to border from Montana to Texas. So Texas is there, and Montana is there. So I'm going to measure border to border. I'm going to just turn my ruler. I'm going to measure up from Texas. I'm going to have to tilt it a tad. So if I go from the top of Texas, it's a little bit over 3. I get roughly 3.1 centimeters. So I do my same conversion, but now I put 3.1 with the centimeters, x on the bottom. And now I cross multiply. 1.3 times x is 1.3x. 500 multiplied by 3.1 is 1,550. Divide by 1.3. Divide by 1.3. And I get my x value to be 1,192.3 kilometers, roughly. Again, the goal here is to make sure you're showing your work, showing that you can set up the proportion, showing that you can measure the scale. Now my last one is Wyoming to Maine. So now I need to find Wyoming and Maine. So Wyoming is right there. I'm going to move my ruler out of the way so I can draw. Right, there's Wyoming. And Maine is right there. So again, I'm going to measure border to border. And I'm going to measure border to border in centimeters. There I am. So I get a little bit over 7.5, 7.6 centimeters roughly. So now I write my same scale, 1.3 over 500. There was 7.6 centimeters, and I'm solving, so now I cross multiply. 1.3 times x is 1.3. 500 multiplied by 7.6 is 3,800. Divide by 1.3, divide by 1.3. And I get x to be roughly 2,923.1 if I round kilometers. So that is now lesson number 3. You now should be completing practice 3.